Okay.
So talk about the Mandalorian and what else?
High Republic stuff. That
sounds.
High Republic.
I like that. I like that crawl that or whatever they released. That makes me ready for it.
Yeah, they also released 3 new books announcements. Not like the titles or anything, but they said who was going to do them and everything. And then Empire Strikes Back. From a certain point of view.
I figured. I'm curious to learn what you've learned.
Oh gosh, my bangs look terrible. Hi everyone, we're live if you're listening.
Oh.
I'm grabbing the link.
Okay. Guess I can do that a little quicker.
Nope.
Hey. And we're ready.
Yep. Changed your name.
Okay. What was I?
Wobbly Boots 85.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's what I always got my name down as.
Yeah.
I can hear the delay. I got the stream going on my TV in the other room. I can hear us with an echo.
You do?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead. Well, let me tweet the link first. That would be important.
Sure.
I made some almond flour snickerdoodles today.
Any good?
Not as good as my regular snickerdoodles, but they were still pretty good. But I'm making the regular snickerdoodles tomorrow.
Oh, shit. Hang on again.
All right.
Ready.
And 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Star Wars Alliance podcast, your home on the Geek Ultimate Alliance podcast network for all things Star Wars. I'm one of your hosts, Katie Gilstrap, and with me, as always, Nathan. Nathan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Katie. Ready to talk some wars as usual. Ready to jump into it as we discuss season 1 of The Mandalorian and more.
Yes, and more. I'm so excited. Originally, we were going to do a first look with Greg on Thrawn, but he had to cancel. Yeah. So we'll do that again sometime.
Wait, what?
Hey, but we're going to be going live Sundays for Mandalorian season 2. We could probably throw a first meeting with Thrawn in there at some point. Sure. So, but first things first, all the paperwork. Nathan, go for it.
As Katie said earlier, we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance network with a whole slew of shows. Something for every day of the week. Monday, you got World's Finest True Believer with Chris Balga and guests as they discuss a comic arc that usually the guest really loves. It gives Chris a chance to read it and they delve into it. And then Tuesdays is DC Alliance with Greg and Travis, where they talk everything DC, from films to comics to TV to whatever. And Wednesday's the counterpart with which is Marvel Alliance with Travis Snail and Chris Bauga. Again, we're same thing, talk all Marvel, news, comics, TV, movies, what's coming. Thursday is Katie's day with this show, Star Wars Alliance, as we're both here. And then on the opposite end of that, on the bi-weekly part, would be Slice of Film, where Katie and guest watch a film of yesteryear. Most of the time, Katie has never seen it. So it's a good perspective as one person has seen it and the other hasn't. Fridays is superhero discussions, again, with Travis and Greg, where they pick an animated film or series to break it down and discuss it. And they just got done wrapping up Superman, the animated series. And now they've got a couple of in the bank Spider-Man, the animated series reviews before they jump into a couple animated movies in their next thing. And then Friday nights we have Super Civil Servants that goes live on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern, I think, or whatever. And then which all of us, basically the whole network, gets on there just to shoot the breeze about whatever's clever. And then it drops on Saturday. And then we also have on Saturday and Sunday Weird Science Comics, Marvel, and DC, where they go over the latest issues of everything coming out and discuss what's good in recent news in the comic world. And I think that's it. Other than we have a Patreon account, which $1 is just basically this is a hey, thank you. It helps keep the candles lit. And then there's a $5 tier that gets you exclusive episodes, ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and whatever nonsense we decide to put up there. And I think that is the entire spiel.
Is important to note, Super Civil Servants will be having a trivia contest with Geekverse podcast as part of their November 7th charity stream for the British Columbia Children's Hospital. And then Super Civil Servants will also be announcing the new show for the Geek Ultimate Alliance Podcast Network on October 23rd. And just as a... You don't know what it is?
I said, I don't even know what it is, but
I'll tell you later. I know what it is. And then this podcast does have ads. By listening to it this month, you are helping support the British Columbia Children's Hospital. I am donating all proceeds I make from podcasting this month to that charity stream and matching every bit of it. So if you listen to the ads, you're helping donate to the charity stream. So thank you in advance. Sure. The important thing to note with those ads is we don't get to choose who the ads are from, and we don't get to choose how loud they are. So either Nathan or I will try and lead you guys into the ad just to kind of give you guys a heads up and help you turn your volume down. But we'll do our best. But if they get thrown in, sometimes we just gotta, So here's my warning. And Nathan's over here in his Star Wars gear. He's doing better than me.
Ready to go.
I'm in my Clemson football stuff. So, Nathan, let's jump right in.
Let's jump right in. Where do you want to go first?
So I would say let's go ahead and jump into From Certain Point of View Strikes Back.
Okay, please enlighten me.
So last week, I think it was Wednesday or maybe Thursday, the Del Rey Star Wars Twitter released all 40 stories and who was writing them. So they said who the character was, and then what the author, who the author was writing them. So you've got a couple of neat ones in there. You've got some cool Imperial officers in there. My favorite announcement was that Ray Sloan was coming back. Ray Sloan will have a story in Empire in Strikes Back, so I'm excited about that.
Think they're gonna tell how she got her rogue hair? Just the white stripe in there, because Rogue from the X-Men got scared and got her white stripes. Is that what it's gonna be? She got really frightened by the Emperor, just gave her that skunk tail, or what?
Well, the story is of her meeting Vader after she's screwed up.
It'd be enough to scare me too. That's exactly where she gets the white patch in her hair.
But I don't think that's like the reason joking. Why. I thought it was after Aftermath she got that, but maybe I could be wrong.
Okay. Any other notable characters or things that jumped out at you?
That's what I was trying to pull
maybe?
Back up. I forgot to look. at, I forgot to pull up the URL. There's we talked about this earlier when the book was first announced, and when the authors all came out. It's an incredibly diverse author group,
Yes.
which I love. You're getting to see a lot of cool, neat stories come out of these authors that you wouldn't really expect. There's 3 different books, or there's 3 different stories on Boba Fett, and then you've got like the Wampa that injures Luke.
Okay. Is it just him with his arm cut off? You're like, God damn it! Just
no, it's
like
before
on
that.
Family Guy Star Wars, where he drives to the gas station, he's got a stick shift and he can't get gas, so it's just.
No, so okay, here's the quote from it. It said something filled him. He had never sensed this before. There was now a cavern in him, one that ate at his gut, that seemed to grow bigger and bigger with each passing of a sun overhead. He tried to fill it with food, picking off prey here and there, but while his hunger was sated, the other sensation bloomed. He was empty without his clan. He waited. He watched. He despaired.
All right. I'm there.
So, and then you've got Torin Farr, who's one of the officers when they're discovered like that the Empire was coming. Mm-hmm. You've got a story.
Oh, so a rebel officer.
Yeah. So you've got a rebel officer. There's also the guy, I don't know if you remember, where like Han tells Leia, you could use a good kiss. And the guy comes walking through with the box.
Yeah.
They've got a story from his perspective.
Oh, cool. Background box guy walks by.
Yes.
We need to know his story.
There's a tale from the space slug that they thought was a cave.
What is happening?
Yeah. Bounty hunter. There's one that she's a bounty hunter that has always idolized Boba Fett. There's a story from her perspective.
Okay.
There's a story from the Ugnaughts in the corridors on Cloud City.
I wonder if the Ugnaught story will connect to Queel from the Mandalorian, because remember,
that's what
Queel said that he said that he worked for the Empire and he worked his sentence off, or there was some frame like that. So I wonder, was he a Cloud City Ugnaught? Like, was he there when Han got frozen in carbonite? Was he like on the Death Star somewhere? You know, is he like a? I just got a feeling if they're like, it'd be a missed opportunity, in my opinion, not to at least be like, oh, there goes, Commander Queel or whatever they call him, working in the Empire. You know what I mean? Until he worked it off, I think that'd be a missed opportunity if they don't mention him.
Yeah, that would be a cool tie-in.
Right.
So you've also got a Legend to Lee story, the droid doctor, who helps Luke at the end. There's a story from his. Yep.
With the hand. Okay.
There's a story from the cook who prepared the intense Cloud City spread that Darth Vader loomed over.
Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't need a space slug story. I don't need to know what the fucking guy walking behind Han and Leia. Like, that's what I meant with the first one. That, like, I didn't care what the janitor on the Death Star was like. Man, that Darth Vader's a dick. I just kept sweeping the floors. Like, I personally don't need that, and I think it's.
But that's what it's called from a certain point of view.
Right. I just think it's funny that they was like, all right, guys, Empire Strikes Back. We're in that time frame. Write a story about it. And somebody was like, space slug. That's mine. What? There's not somebody else. Like, give me Cliff from Cheers. Like in the because he's in the base on Hawk. Like, let me know what Cliff from Cheers was doing there. Like, he took a wrong turn, and instead of meeting Norm at the bar, he like ended up in Star Wars on Hawk and was like, holy shit. Like, I want to know that story. What happens there?
No, okay, so there's also one from Obi-Wan Kenobi's perspective.
All right, now that one I could dig Kenobi. Give me Kenobi, give me Leia, give me Chewie, give me something inside the mind of Chewie where he's growling like what he's thinking. I'd love it. Give it here.
So the rules are.
You're right. You got to stay away from.
They are.
Yeah.
So but they have to stay away from Luke, Leia, Han, and Vader.
Right. Since you have the list in front of you, glancing over it, are there any first-time authors that jump out at you or that you know of for writing for Star Wars? Like what I'm getting is this. You think this is almost like a testing ground for a couple of new authors to where maybe in next year when they're planning another book in the High Republic series, which we'll get to, like they go, hey, Sally, your space slug story was awesome. Like, we're gonna let you write Assad's Ventress or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Is there anything like that where there's maybe a newcomer or somebody that hasn't been? You know what I mean? If you know of by hand or offhand.
So one that I'm particularly excited about is Tracy Dion.
Okay.
And she gets to write about the Cave of Evil.
Is
Which
she
is
is she a newcomer to Star Wars?
Yeah, this is the first
Okay.
time that she's writing for Star Wars. And this is the one this is where Luke goes in the cave and sees himself as Darth Vader. So she's writing a story from the perspective of the cave.
The swamp in Dagobah. Oh, she's writing it as the cave is like the cave is its own character.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to see the full list. That was just like highlights.
No, that's fine. I didn't know if you knew offhand. I just didn't know if there was somebody that jumped out at you that was like, okay, I know this person from, so and so. They write these novels. I mean, I just didn't know if there was any kind of crossover, somebody new into this world that I haven't heard about, but they're a good writer. What you know what I mean?
I haven't heard a lot about Mike Chin, but he wrote a story about Palpatine. And it has a tie-in to the Revenge of the Sith novelization that I'm excited to see.
Yeah.
Because I thought the novelization for Revenge of the Sith was a lot better than the movie.
If you pause. We're gonna stop right here. At a novelizations, first of all, the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy novelizations are actually really good and like they're spot on and they just expand it even more. Like if you want any more like little tidbits, but out of every one of the Revenge of the Sith is the book to where like if you were just like, oh, a start like that book is phenomenal. You get like little pieces of Dooku, like what he's thinking right before Anakin cuts his head off, about how he realized he was just a pawn the whole time. And you get more expansion on like the Obi-Wan and like Vader and Anakin falling. There's a little more context to it. Like when Obi-Wan and him leave his friends for the first time, just kind of like it's not so black and white. You get more into the mind of Anakin as he delves further into the dark side. And more of Obi-Wan is like he's torn, being like, I got to take my apprentice, basically. You know what I mean? I would highly recommend it. It's excellent. If people aren't into novelizations of the movies, I get it. But if you'd ever want to try one, I jump right in with Revenge of the Sith first, if that'll be your first one. But it might spoil you because I think it is excellent.
Yep.
Unpause.
No, yeah, that I completely agree. Like, Matt, and I can't remember his last name, and you might have just said it, but Matthew Stover. He did a fantastic job with that novelization. But I think Tracy Dion and Mike Chin are two of my favorites that I'm excited to see. But my plan is to review these in sets of 5. So go through 1 through 5, and they're all set in order of the movie, obviously. So you've got a bunch of Hoth, then you've got a bunch during the chase, and then you've got Cloud City. So excited to see how this plays. But
Lando's not one of those characters that's off limits, is he? Are they? Or is he?
I think he was off limits. I don't remember seeing him on the list.
Well, because I would love to know. Like, I know that like he says like he's the administrator of this here facility. Investment there on Cloud City, but like if I could get a little that's what personally if that would have been a story of like a little context of like just give me maybe a quick couple hits of like how did he get Bespin? Like almost like. Especially now, for instance, Solo, like what's he been like? Because in Solo, we see he's just kind of like the slime, anything to make that, like one trade to the next trade, and the next business move to the next. Like, how did he climb from playing Sabak, cheating at Sabak, to the administrator of Cloud City and like this beautiful landscape and all? Like, I don't know. That next time or somebody that does it, I would love a little story of Lando, kind of like his rise or whatever, and like you know what I mean. Just I think that'd be cool, like how he got there, and maybe even like Vader storming in on him with stormtroopers and Lando being in that rocket. Because if you remember, like when you first watched Empire Strikes Back, you see Han come off and him and Lando, their buddy, and you're like, all right, we got a new friend. And then he turns on him with Vader, and everybody's like, you bastard. And then like he gets walking down the corridor and he Lobot. And Lando gets all there, gets it, then he comes back and you're like, all right, we gotta get it. But I'd love to see that maybe, Vader coming in and Lando being in that hard position, being like, shit. You know what I mean? I gotta save my own skin.
That's what the quick story is. Okay. Lando comes in and tells him, hey, Vader's coming to dinner.
Okay, all right. Now maybe that might be a little worth that one might be worth reading then, because like I said, I'd love to know just a little more, and maybe they'll make an entire Lando novel because I know they've written a couple, but you know what I mean, just that original trilogy Lando, and like we saw a little bit of him in Rebels, so we kind of know what he was doing there, but like I just want to know how he got to the rise of Cloud City. Like that was his shit. He was in command there. Vader went to Lando to take over Cloud City. You know what I mean? Like I just think that'd be a cool story.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to read the quote from the Obi-Wan Kenobi story because I thought it was interesting.
Go ahead.
And then the Wills quote, because the author that came back that did the Wills story in the first one is doing it again. And I thought the way they phrased that one, I'm like, ooh, excuse me. So the quote from the Obi-Wan story is, I had hoped that dying would be enough to untangle me from the Skywalker family's issues. And yet here I am again, Obi-Wan Kenobi, one with the Force, and still the only thing standing between a Skywalker and an impulse decision that could have galactic consequences.
Read that first part again. Here I find myself what?
I had hoped that dying would be enough to untangle me from the Skywalker family's issues.
All right, stop right there. Bullshit. First of all, I don't see Obi-Wan Kenobi like Obi-Wan feels responsible for Anakin. For Qui-Gon had him. Qui-Gon gets killed. Obi-Wan takes ownership and responsibility, trains Anakin, gets him up, and you are my brother, Anakin. You are the chosen one. You know what I'm saying? Like screaming in there, and you could see how sad he was. I personally don't think Obi-Wan, even Alec Guinness, when he's out there on the rock and he's watching over Luke, I don't think he's ever once said, I wish I could just untangle myself from the Skywalkers. No, he feels personally responsible for Vader and Anakin. And then with Luke, even in death, he's going to make sure the Force shepherds him in the right way. I just don't like that phrasing. I know it's me. I'm reading too much into it. I just don't like it.
Well, okay. So that was the quote from the image. This is the image.
Okay. Looks like a silhouette of Alec Guinness.
The tweet, I don't know why I'm saying Twilight. The
Twilight
tweet says, the problem with Skywalkers is that they care too much. Obi-Wan knows. He's always known.
This is true. Now that's right. That's right. Like I said, I just got a problem with that. I wish I could untangle myself. Because I'm picturing Alec Guinness saying it. I wish I could untangle myself from the Skywalkers.
No, I don't think that was like, I don't think
that's how my brain
it's just
works.
A pull. I know, but I think
that's how my brain works. Right. And other than that, take that first part out. Love the rest of it. Love the rest of it.
And then, okay, so the tweet for the Will story says, the problem with chronicling the story of Star Wars is deciding where to begin, or rather continue. Everyone's got an opinion.
I think that's speaking to the fandom of Star Wars in general.
Again, that was the tweet.
Right.
Here's the image quote. And it says, may the Force be with me as I prepare to inscribe another entry in the immortal journal of the Wills. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, well, actually, and that's it.
Sidebar, which that actually might be a thing, but sidebar, eventually, whether it's a 5-minute piece of animation, whether it's a epilogue to a certain story, whatever, I would love to get the image of how George Lucas imagined Star Wars, to where he basically imagined that at the end of everything, which, his sequel trilogy, whatever, but basically where we're at now, the end of the trilogy from beginning to end, that the droids were the memory, especially R2, because R2 went through the Clone Wars as Anakin's right hand. He went through all of that. But I would love for that scene where George, he intended that like you just kind of hear, and it's like, and like maybe the last, you'll come in on the conversation, and the last thing is, Rey Skywalker, and then it's kind of done, and then you look at it and it's R2 and C-3PO telling the Wills the story of the Skywalker saga, starting from episode 1 when he meets Anakin and Qui-Gon, because that's how George imagined it, is like at the end of all this, you know what I mean? And it was because the universe is the universe itself, but R2 and C-3PO, not so much 3PO because he got his memory wiped a bunch, but R2 specifically because he was there for all of it. Even in the Clone Wars, 3PO wasn't around a lot, but R2 was in it with, but he's the memory, so he gets to tell the story to the Wills, and eventually I want to either see it in animation or like an epilogue to a book, when I know they're never going to be done touching on
the
Clone Wars original, the sequel, which is fine. But I mean, like, I just think that would be so cool and poetic, and do it before George dies. Especially if you put it in animation or in live action, just a little blurb or something. Like, I think he'd bring a tear to that man's eye. Where because that's how. There's plenty of interviews where he said that, where like he kind of intended that, to where it was, they telling the story of the Skywalker, starting with Anakin, Luke, and then eventually ending with Rey, if we're appropriating names and houses and ships and all that. So
I would agree.
Look, Katie, guys, you can tell she's not paying attention because she didn't jump my ass.
No, I pulled up the actual full list. Yeah, you're right. I probably wasn't paying too much attention.
I get it. It's all right.
But the full author list has 28, and I'm pulling this from the Cinelinx article. 28 from a certain point of view, first timers, and 12 returning authors.
Okay.
And so you've got a story from a person who hunts Imperial probe droids. We said the Wampa.
Weird job, but excellent. Like, you're only not Imperials, just their probe droids.
Mm-hmm.
I got a very specific set of skills. I can just hear Liam Neeson coming out there.
But then the next one's Wampa, and then it's the rebel officer, a good kiss with Chase, the box guy, a Tauntaun keeper.
Okay.
I think that's another rebel officer. Oh, you might find this funny. The next story in the list is called Rogue 2. And it's by Gary Whitta, who wrote Rogue One.
Okay, I'm in. I will die on this hill that Rogue One is the absolute if we're talking strictly movies, other than Mandalorian, Rogue One is the best offering that Disney has put out there. That movie is almost perfect front to back. Like, I can sit there and watch that movie right now, and it's just excellent. I don't have any complaints. I thought it ended beautifully. I love the story, the Vader, Jen and her father Galen, that story of father and daughter, and like that love that still binds you. I love that movie. Love it. Cassian and his, from having to kill his friend because he couldn't make it. Like, I just love that movie. That movie is excellent.
The next one is Ozzel, who's an Imperial officer. And then you've got Dak Ralter, who's in the Rogue Squadron.
Okay. Speaking of which, have you heard anything about the Rogue Squadron game? I still haven't gotten it. As we talked about it, it'll probably be after the holidays before I get it. But I've heard people playing it and beta and stuff, and I've heard actually pretty legit. Like, people are saying it's pretty hardcore and cool as hell.
Yeah, everyone I've heard from absolutely loves it. It's just not my type of game. I just
eventually I will get it, but right now I don't it's still kind of nice where I'm at. But as soon as we get into full on winter mode, and like when it snows, like I work in the snow and the sleet and all that stuff. So when it comes to like my free time after work, and when it's real cold like that, I'll be in the house. So it'll be the perfect time to binge and watch stuff, you know what I mean? And if I got time, get into a game and just play it up. So that's my game plan as of now, is once it starts getting cold and my butt don't want to go outside except for work, then I'll be diving into something like that.
Yeah. The next one is Private Iman Kref, who's a rebel officer. And then, so I don't know if you had ever seen this on Twitter, but there was a Veers Watch Twitter account. He's one of the officers in the big four-legged thing.
Okay.
So he has a story in this, and it's written by Christy Golden.
Did you just say? Wait a minute.
I could not remember what it was.
Okay. Whoa. All right. You just flabbergasted me there. I say, you of all people. I get it. A little slip. I got it.
I'm so bad at remembering what's an ATST, what's an ATAT.
Mm-hmm. And then the ATTEs or whatever from the Clone Wars, all-terrain troop. I used to know all of them, like every little. That's neither here nor there. The ATSTs, the Chicken Walker, and all. I used to know all of them. Their classes, Clone Wars, or Imperial, all that stuff. I don't even know what Johnson called his, and which, by the way, I'll give the Last Jedi credit. That big gorilla-looking walker, the big beefed up. All right, that was pretty cool. There, and on Crate with the Salt Planet, those things look pretty badass. I'll give him credit.
So then you've got another Tauntaun story. And then you've got the dragon snake saves R2D2. So you've got
Is that from on Dagobah, I'm guessing?
So now
Okay.
we've moved to other places, Dagobah.
So you got to
you've
think
got-
Luke and Yoda are background characters in those. Like they're at least mentioned. Like we look over and Luke and Yoda are about, Yoda's jumping and flipping around. The snake was probably just happy he wasn't getting eaten because we saw Yoda. He just tearing shit up out there.
Oh, you did not see half the tweets I saw. Like, I'm excited. Yoda is in this several times.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I figured.
So then you got an Imperial officer, Wedge Antilles, with the only pull quote from it is Wedge Antilles always wanted to fly.
Okay. I love that Wedge is getting like all this love lately. Like I know he did in the original EU, but like the love for Wedge is still there. People are like, all right, I need to know about Antilles. Let's get him up there. So like I do love that there's still love for Wedge.
Yep. You've got a story called The Final Order. Hint, wink, wink.
I wonder if they're gonna try to. I know I keep interrupting. I'm sorry, but I'm just spitballing here. Like, I wonder if that's gonna be if they're gonna try to say like that final. Not try to say, but if they're gonna go, okay, here's your first clue that the Emperor was like. What if we see him sit the acolytes or whatever and send him to Exegol or something? Like with that final word, like or if he finds something on Hoth at that base that he goes, oh, I need this on Exegol. Like in the little final order thing.
What if you see Richard Grant's character? Because we know he served the Emperor in the Clone Wars and then in the Empire.
Before falling off and then becoming commander of the taking over for Hux, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you know what? I'm down with it. Like maybe seeing him as like a cadet or not a cadet, but like basically like an ensign or like basically the lowest rank because it's been so many years or down. Okay, I would like that too. That works for me. Or at Armitage Hux, or Hux's dad or whatever. Was it Armitage or is that Hux's name?
Brindle.
Hux's dad, I know, took a bunch of people and took them to Exegol for that. So it'd just be cool if like we start seeing the seeds, like we see Hux's dad and like you said, Grant's character and maybe the Palpatine, just laying the seeds of I've got a special place that only I can take you to or whatever to. That would be really cool.
Well, and I believe Hux's character is in Aftermath. I haven't read
I've
that.
Heard that. Yeah,
but
I've heard
I
that.
believe he's in there, so it could be plausible that he's in this.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got a story from a TIE pilot. And then you have a story from Yoda's perspective called The First Lesson.
Yes.
Then's your Palpatine.
Please don't make him a dick, guys. I'm telling you, I've got this real problem lately with Disney Story Group, and I just want to have a mea culpa with them. Stop making Yoda out to be an arrogant, dumb dick. I hate this. Okay, this is Master Yoda. I just feel like there's these little digs at Yoda in all these little books. So I'm going, come on. All right, we'll keep going.
Do you want to know the quote from this one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yoda could not remember the last time something had broken his concentration in such a manner. Was it a sign of inner doubt or an old fear he'd managed to keep hidden within? No, this was an outside presence. A presence he had not felt in many years. Potent and prophetic. Foreign yet familiar. A Skywalker.
Okay, that's got a hook in me right there. That's a good little line to cast out there. That makes me want to know more.
And then you've got the Palpatine story. And I want to read this one because I don't remember reading this one. So it's sheer will powered Palpatine through as it always did, fending off the determination of someone or something wanting to hide this. A secret held so tightly that the very desire to protect it gave itself away, if only for a blink. Much as the Force spoke to the rebel pilot who destroyed the Death Star, it revealed itself to Palpatine here, not by guiding the launch of torpedoes, but with a vision. What Palpatine saw in the Force should have frightened him.
Ooh. Okay. All right. Yoda and Sheev. I want to read both of them. I just like calling Sheev because what a silly name and nobody calls him Sheev. I think it's hilarious.
So then you have the story from the Space Slug. Ray Sloan.
Okay, I'm interested. This character keeps getting built up to me, and the little nuggets and tidbits I've heard, like maybe I need to get a good Ray Sloan story of something like where she's just karate kicking ass or something. I don't know. I'm getting more. The more I hear about her, like I know you're not the only one that's sang her praises, but like there's a lot of people being like, "Ooh, like I'm intrigued. I want to know more about her."
Yes, she's great. And then you've got the story from the cave. You've got a Bosk story.
Okay. I like lizard
Uh,
people.
and then you've got two bounty hunters, which I don't know who they are. But that one's from Daniel Jose Older, which I am always excited to read something from him. So,
You know what?
what?
Wouldn't it be cool? Now this is just thinking outside because I was watching episodes of Mando before we jumped on. Wouldn't it be cool if we get a young Bill Burke's character? Because remember, he's an old Imperial. Mando goes, that's not impressive. He goes, I wasn't a stormtrooper, Dick, or whatever. You asked or whatever. Bill Burke says that. He said I wasn't. So what if he's like that TIE pilot, or what if he's in the infantry? Oh, that'd be a cool little nugget just to kind of sow that seed too, because he was in the Empire itself in his younger days. So I don't know. I just think that'd be kind of cool. Now I'm just making all these connections, and when it doesn't happen, I don't know. If it was me, though, I'd be willing to say something.
So then you've got Boba Fett. I believe that's another Imperial officer story. Obi-Wan. So this story is from Jackson. The character is called Jackson. He was a huge hit in the expanded universe, or not really, but he's like, yeah.
He's the rabbit guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I've heard people talk about it. I've never read anything. Okay,
I've never heard of him
rabbits.
before this. Right. And then I found out that he's a infamous character.
Are Roger and Bugs going to be there too? Or, are we just getting the whole rabbit family in there? Or what are we doing here?
I don't know. That story's from Cavan Scott, who wrote the Dooku book. It's got Lobot in it. So yeah.
Okay.
And then you have the cook on Cloud City who cooks for Darth Vader. And the quote from this is, "Wait, Darth Vader is your guest? That's who you want me to cook for? That's who I want you to cook for," Lando said.
We would be honored if you would join us. As they come into there and Vader's sitting behind the desk. That's it. Yeah, I love that little James Earl Jones. Man, that guy is a national treasure, and I don't want to jinx it. That voice is like no other. He jumps out at you in any animation, any voiceover he does. Man, it's gonna be a sad day when that man goes, because that voice is so iconic. Like I said, just saying that, like just the presence he puts in, we'd be honored if you would. It just puts his hand. Oh, yeah, man, that's gonna be a sad day when that man goes, and I hope it's not for 10 more years. He's a national treasure.
Yep. And then you have the bounty hunter that idolizes Boba Fett. And then you've got a Dengar and IG-88 story.
Okay.
The story from the Ugnaughts. Mm-hmm. And then you've got an L337 story.
L337, yuck. She's gonna be running around droid rights and movie restraining boats, and I don't know. She's
L3 would have shrugged here if it had been the old days. The days before she'd been uploaded to the Falcon and had become one of the 3 droid brains that made up the ship's computer.
Yeah, before they trapped her soul in the Falcon. Yeah, that was my favorite part of Solo.
She built herself such good shoulders too. Like, I love that one. I don't care.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm just giving it, giving it
poop. Then you've got another story. I don't remember who the character of this one is, but it's called Dew on Batu. Mm-hmm. And then you've got
Batu.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then you've got a story from one of the females presented during the movie. You've got a story from her perspective.
Who? It was Leia and Mon Mothma. That was our women in the Star Wars original trilogy.
On Cloud City. On Cloud City.
Okay. One of my favorite parts of the Star Wars Family Guy doing Star Wars too. Whenever Leia, the only 2 women in there, Leia meets Mon Mothma, and she goes, hate her. I don't know. It's just funny. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't watched Family Guy do Star Wars, you're doing a disservice. It's freaking hilarious.
I haven't watched it still.
Disservice.
And then you've got a story from a female stormtrooper. This was a neat tie-in because one of the authors took a 501st Stormtrooper number that I believe he's decent friends with. This is by Adam Christopher, who's writing the Mandalorian story. And took her number and put it on this Stormtrooper. So
cool. And made it, and so it's like a little homage to her, but it's a female Stormtrooper in the Empire.
Yep.
Okay. Fascinating. I'd like to see what it was like working underneath Palpatine as a female. Like, there wasn't any favoritism. Like, it didn't matter if he was a woman or a guy. He'll choke you both out in a heartbeat. He'll just snap both your necks.
I don't remember who this story is from either. But it's called The Man Who Built Cloud City, and it's by Alexander Freed. He wrote Alphabet Squadron as well as the Battlefront novel. And then you've got a story from the Lando's other assistant than Lobot, Cal. The medical droid story, and then the Will story. And that's all 40 stories.
Cool. All right, you got me intrigued on some of them. I might have to get some and pick and choose what I listen to there. I might have to do it.
They haven't announced who's doing the audiobook version for each of these yet, and they had some really cool ones for A New Hope. So I can't wait to see that list. But that comes out November 10th. So. Okay.
And with that, our first ad break?
Yes, go for it.
We're going to be taking a short break here. Adjust your volume accordingly if it jumps out blaring at you. And again, we have no affiliation with what ads put in or if they repeat ads or whatever it is. But thank you. We'll be right back.
And podcast magic. 3, 2, 1. And we are back, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Right.
And if you're watching us live here on YouTube, thanks for being patient for podcast.
Right. Or watching it later. Whatever. Thank you.
Exactly. So the words. The next topic on our list is the High Republic. And they did a panel on this for New York City Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con, whatever it's called. So they
online.
Yeah. But apparently it was much better done than San Diego Comic-Con. So
they watched DC Fandom and everything else. They better have taken notes because I hate to say it, guys, but Fandom crushed you. You know what I mean? Like, they did it the right way. So I'm glad they took notes and they figured it out. Plus, they were the first one out of the gate, and they stumbled a little bit, but like you said, they recovered for New York.
Yep. So I did not watch the panel, but I did read the Force Toast live tweet of it. So thank you, Laura and Alice, for that. That was greatly appreciated.
Sweet girls.
But so obviously there's more plans for the High Republic in the future. But right now we only have 3 novels announced. So we've got Charles Soule's novel. Excuse me, I got ahead of myself.
I didn't know what he was doing here.
That's not why. So Charles Soule's book and Justina Ireland's Justina's is a middle grade book and Charles is an adult novel. And those both come out January 5th. And then Claudia Gray's book comes out February 6th. And that's a young adult book. The next 3 books on the list, you've got the adult novel written by Cavan Scott. That's why I said Cavan Scott. And then I believe Justina is writing the young adult book. And I don't think they announced who was doing the middle grade. No, Daniel Jose Older is doing the middle grade book. So that was kind of the big news out of there. We don't have any titles or any dates, though. What is to be expected is that it looks like it's going to play a 6-month outline. So what people are saying is that they'll come out June or July. And then we'll kind of maybe get a third announcement for December and maybe just go with a 6-month stretch between.
Well, yeah, with this High Republic series, I will give the story group credit and Disney overall. I know they took the better part of a year and collaborated, and everybody did. Like, they mapped this out, got concept art. They even had like little music. Like, they did this the right way. So what you're saying is this 6 month like structure and kind of like bracket thing. Like I could totally see that because these are not necessarily supposed to flow one to it, but if you've read them all, you got it. And if you won't, you can, but it's still accessible to jump in and just ride with the stories, what they're saying. But you can actually follow all this through, the through line and the characters. But apparently they planned it out. And am I wrong in saying that it's going to be like a 2 year? Why does that? I don't know why that sticks out in my head, but like a 2 year kind of plan of like books and novels and tie-ins. Now I'm not saying it won't go further than that, but I want to say that maybe I'm misremembering, or maybe I'm just making it up altogether. But they did like a 2 year kind of going like that. You know what I mean?
I don't remember there being a specific stretch on how this is going to play out in our timeline. Mm-hmm. So
maybe, like I said, maybe I'm making shit up. I don't know. Maybe I dreamed it.
All the authors have stated that they're going to be deeply involved with this after this first year. Nothing's been announced currently after 2021, but Charles Soule came back and said, no, I've been ingrained in the planning process of this, and I plan to continue being a part of it. He's also going to do a serial edition for the High Republic. The Star Wars Insider will be publishing like a serial story each issue. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but that is going to be coming back.
If Mr. Soule can captivate me with this High Republic novel as much as he did with his 2017 Vader run, I'm gonna so be in, like, because that, I don't know why, I can't even explain to you why I thought it was so good, but like I was just it was just a page turner reading that the Vader comic in the trade for him. And if he can captivate my my opinion, and my imagination like that again, like absolutely. And didn't they? That wasn't the crawl from his book that got released.
It doesn't say specifically if it's a crawl from his book or anything, but all it says is the opening crawl. And the opening crawl is: the galaxy is at peace, ruled by the glorious Republic and protected by the noble and wise Jedi Knights. As a symbol of all that is good, the Republic is about to launch Starlight Beacon into the far reaches of the Outer Rim. This new space station will serve as a ray of hope for all to see, but just as a magnificent renaissance spreads throughout the Republic, so does a frightening new adversary. Now the Guardians of Peace and Justice must face a threat to themselves, the galaxy, and the Force itself.
Oh, it just makes me all nipply. I'm ready for it. Like, give it to me. Give it to me.
Give it to me one more time.
Like that right there. I don't know why. And like the Star Beacon or whatever it is, it just I'm ready for it. Like I love, like I said, as I've stated before, my favorite area so far have been like the Knights of the Old Republic stuff, which I didn't even play the game. It's just what little bit I know of like the Jedi stuff in the cut movies. But my favorite is like the prequel era, because I love seeing all the Jedi, and I love the Clone Wars because you get to see different Jedi, but they're going on their wheel and stuff. So like this High Republic, even if there's only like 200 Jedi or whatever the hell they were saying it is, like I'm stoked. Like I just want to know more about them, even if they're not going to be okay. We know they're not going to be like the Jedi Order that we saw. We know this because they're saying they're almost like U.S. Marshals, kind of like, you know what I mean, like almost like bounty hunter marshals and peacekeepers all in one, which I'm fine with. But like just give me Jedi. Like I love just give me all the lightsabers, just cutting people and battle droids and whatever down. I'm ready for it.
Yep. So I did want to make sure that I had the books right. Kevin is doing the next adult, Justine is doing the next young adult, and Daniel is doing the middle grade. There is going to be a story in December from the High Republic. And advanced readers' copies of the books have been sent out already, especially of the first two. I know that. And that is the content in those are embargoed until December 14th, which could be when that's getting released because they'll tie in more, and they'll want people to be promoting during that time period. I'm looking through the Force Toast live tweet again. Daniel's comic features Yoda hanging out with the Padawans and training them. Justina's book, her heroine is the Hermione of the Jedi, and kicking ass, quickly moving through the ranks at 16, helping others to be their best.
Wait, which version of Hermione? Is it going to be like first 2 / half the 3 first movies / books, or is it gonna be like the latter half? Because the latter half she's cool. In the first 2, she's kind of like the know-it-all and like teach, pick me, and like people were just like, and then she blossoms into this badass character who's like still kind of like that, but like just more confident. I don't know. There's
my bet would be the last one, but
all right, let's do that where she's like cool and like you're like, yeah, Hermione, let's go.
Yep. Claudia Gray, one of her characters is actually caught up in the disaster itself. Writers have lots of time to really build on Jedi and them growing since it's a time of peace. Cavan Scott's character in his comics features Keeve Trennis.
If you had to guess, and I know that this is a whole new era, they're doing a whole new thing. I get that. I know that they're not going to retread stories. They're not going to do whatever. But we do know that Disney and the Story Group and Lucasfilm like to cherry pick specific characters, plot lines, ships, backgrounds, planets, whatever from the Legends expanded universe. Do you think there's a chance that, or what do you think the odds are that they're going to bring something like that in? Whether it's a planet, maybe it's a Dash Rendar, maybe we get a Padawan Kyle Katarn, or maybe we get and I know it'll be like it's Mara Jade, where almost like the Thrawn thing, where the character's still the same, but you're in a different timeline. She's not connected to Luke or whatever. You know what I mean? Like you can still do. Do you think there's the, or like there's a Malgus, but I don't think the Sith are around at this time. But like, you know what I mean? Like there's all these different characters in this vast story. Because like I said, we know they like to cherry pick things here and there. Do you think they're going to try to stay completely away from it in these first couple of books? Or do you think there was like, oh, like that was a cool thing. We're gonna cherry pick this person or this planet or this bad guy species or whatever, you know what I mean? And like put it in here in a whole new context, just like Timothy Zahn did with Thrawn. Like he was Legends, they didn't do anything. And then he brought him forward, which is the same character, but a whole new set of circumstances on how, you know what I mean? What do you think the percentage of that is?
I don't know necessarily if they're going to exactly pull items because, I mean, the planning process for the High Republic was probably 3 or 4 years. And so these authors are getting really a lot of time to build up their characters and make them distinct. Now, I'm sure when they were in the planning phase, someone from the story group probably said, okay, wait, you're kind of mimicking this character. And to me, this is the first big step for Star Wars publishing outside of the Skywalker saga and probably since the expanded universe, in my opinion, like because everything else is kind of built off something else. And yes, the expanded universe kind of had 6 movies to build off of, and that's what they did. But once you got past the initial phase of like 10 years after Return of the Jedi, everything from there is kind of like a big story plot of its own. Like,
well, okay, like here's a good example. Like the Razor Crest was a ship from Legends and stuff, and the Mandalorian brought it in, and that's kind of the same thing I'm talking. Like Mandalorian, like they wanted to tread their own ground within the thing, but they cherry picked, boom, the Razor Crest specifically. Do you think, like, even if it's down to something insignificant like a ship? I just wonder if, like, you think there'll be something for people who were diehard Legends fans or something, you know what I mean? And like,
I'm sure
and like
they're gonna,
just like it's, like, oh, bam, like just nonchalantly being like, oh, we're gonna get on a Razor Crash ship, you know what I mean? Like Razor Crest class ship, and then you know what I mean? And then people who like that, they'll be like, oh shit, that was my favorite ship in the old EU. Like that's cool. It's back in there. You know, it's just something like that, small and maybe just insignificant.
I could see him doing a ship or even a droid.
A droid. That's
a droid class, not a specific like droid person, but like specific characters like Kyle Katarn and Mara Jade. I don't think you're gonna see them presented in this era.
I wouldn't say already. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I think you're not gonna see like name pulls. I think you might see ship pulls or like Tom, the use on Vaughn.
Like Tom said. Yeah. Tom said they don't want to just slap a name onto somebody just to say, hey, there's the name for the character that's not the same. Right. And that's what I meant. Like, I didn't mean, you know what I mean? Maybe not specifically a character unless they wanted to do the Thrawn treatment, which I think eventually there will be more characters eventually that get the Thrawn treatment of. I do believe one day, I'm not saying this series, but I do believe one day you are going to see your Mara Jade be ripped out of Legends and put in someone else. And like I said, maybe she won't be Mara Jade Skywalker, but she will still be Mara Jade. Like when you read her, you're like, oh hell yeah, that's still my favorite character. Yeah. But she's in maybe it's in the New Republic era, or maybe it's right before Clone Wars, or maybe in that time between Return of the Jedi and The Last Jedi, maybe Luke and her did meet, and there was a little thing in blue. You know what I mean? Like they got time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you won't get your stories that you like, but maybe they'll do, like I said, the Thrawn treatment where they'll pluck her forward, and you're gonna go, sweet, I still got Mara Jade now. It's not the stories that I loved before, but I still got my character.
Well, and with Mara Jade's story, Mara Jade, to me, you could still put her in as an assassin with the Emperor. I mean, he had Inquisitors. You just make her an Inquisitor. Like,
right, yeah.
Literally
good point.
Called the Emperor's hand. So to me, that still works.
Oh, good call. Oh,
yeah. And you can still plug her in
this.
And say, oh, okay, she's a 17th sister or whatever, and that's who she is now. I don't know how many sisters there are. Okay, like
right. No, I get it. Absolutely, you're right. Though. That's what I'm saying. I think I'm calling personally. I do think the High Republic, maybe like I said, maybe it'll be something just as small as a Razor class shit. You know what I mean? Just like you said, a class of droid. Like an R6 droid or something. Class or whatever. Like I think there will be something from. And what it is, I don't know, because my knowledge of the Legends isn't as vast as yours. But I think for people who lived and bred that for years, and then Disney came in and said, "Oh yeah, all that didn't mean crap." Like I think they'll have something in there for those people of, if you know, if not, it's not like we're drawing big attention to it or not. It's just going through it. I believe that they'll have something like that. I just don't know what.
Yeah, and I think it's possible, which is why I've kind of suggested like the Yuuzhan Vong. As kind of the villain for this era, because it's not where the Yuuzhan Vong were in the expanded universe. So to me, it makes sense if that's something you want to pull, and then you just put different characters in there. You don't have to use the same characters because it's 200 years earlier. You can use the species and then build your own universe out of it.
And that would be a great nod to the expanded universe, just using the species but doing a whole new story. But that's another thing I'm talking about, something like that.
I think stuff like that works. I don't think you're going to see any specific name drops. It's going to be a species or a droid or a ship. So.
Okay.
The authors got to map out like how they felt the Force should look in their stories. So like Justina's main character's view of the Force is at its being an extreme, others as a tapestry. These views could lead to foreshadowing of where the character stories go. Like Avar Chris, the main character in Charles Soule's book, perceives the Force as music, Song of the Force.
Okay.
Claudia gave a non-solo type character the description of young Matthew McConaughey with a spaceship.
All right. Is he just gonna be leaning against the corner of a building, being like, "I get older and they stay the same age"? Is it his belt buckle bowl? Like, is that which McConaughey are we getting? Are we getting the Lincoln commercial guys where he's like, "I drive a Lincoln because it's smooth and like me"? Like who's all that? Which McConaughey are we getting? You know what I'm saying?
Claudia, will you tell us, please? So,
yeah.
No, it was not. That was not specific. We get a set of twins, which is rare in the Star Wars universe per Lost Stars. So there is that aspect.
Eventually, I want them to pull forward. Eventually, when they get there, because they will retread this ground, but I want them to go back to the Knights of the Old Republic era, and I want the old Sith Emperor and his twin Sith sons, and I want that story, because you can watch YouTube clips of that, and just from like the 20-minute like gameplay trailer, like this cutscene, give me that story, flesh that out, push that shit out there, let's go.
So I had forgotten about this, but the Force Toast live tweet says writers mentioned being fans of the expanded universe and maybe pulling from that a bit. So there you go.
Excellent. Eventually, one of these days, they're gonna have to give me Revan, and I'm just gonna be a puddle of nerd juice whenever I see a live action Revan, because like, man, that character is so cool.
We'll see connections to other planets we've been to before. Evidently, there's already a tease that maybe we haven't noticed from another book. And that is it.
From another book. And who said that? Claudia Gray? Is that who said that? Who said that there's possibly because what was the one she wrote? Master and Apprentice?
Yeah, she's written 4 books.
Well, she said that was one of her newer ones. I wonder if it's a planet that Qui-Gon and Kenobi might have been, looked over. So, you know what I mean? If she said there's been a little hint, I'd be curious to go back over and see maybe what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be in one of the author's books. I think it's going to be something that the story group has tied into one of the newer books, like maybe Chaos Rising or Alphabet Squadron, something of the sorts. Speaking of Alphabet Squadron, I did finally get past 3 hours into the book. And I am loving it. So, yes, I am loving it.
Okay, so I should have just skipped the first 3 hours and then jumped in, or what?
Yeah, once you get past the monotony
I was bored to death
building the characters, like there's a point where, because obviously at the beginning of the book, they're all kind of split in their own directions, and it kind of can get confusing, obviously.
Yes.
But once they're all together, I like it a lot more.
See, I'm telling you, for me personally, they should jump me in with a oh God, like not an epilogue for the thing. What's a prologue? Give me a prologue of like Hera Syndulla, or give me the first couple chapters where Hera's in the background or something, because that would have hooked me in immediately. I'd have said, all right, like Hera, let's go. Captain Syndulla, like I'm like, oh, and I'd have been immediately drug in, but like I was, in the Empire, and now I'm here, and people are blowing stuff up, and nobody trusts me, and I get it. I personally found it mundane and was just banging my head against the wall. But that's just me, though. Maybe that's just not for me.
And I was right there with you. This is my 3rd or 4th time trying to read this book.
Okay, see, good. It wasn't just me then, because I've heard people say once you get to a certain point, it's like it shifts into overdrive, and you take off, But I just don't know if I can just drive a nail into my forehead for 3 hours until I get to the good parts. You know what I mean?
I think it was about 4.5 hours before I really got into it.
No, that's
and
even
I'm
worse.
At 6 hours. I'm at 5 hours and 59 minutes left. So.
Okay. Well, but good to know it does get better, because I trust your opinion on it, and if you say it, I believe it.
Well, and the Battlefront book, or was it the Battlefront? I can't remember now. I think actually Christy Golden did the Battlefront book. Alexander, this is gonna bug me now. I'm sorry. Pause.
Katie is live Wikipedia.
Yes. Oh, he wrote the Battlefront book. I didn't read that book. I read a different Battlefront book.
All right, good talk.
And now I'm looking up Christy Golden, because I think she wrote the one I'm thinking of.
Battlefront or Inferno Squadron, or like which one?
Inferno Squadron. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, she wrote Battlefront 2 Inferno Squad, which I loved that book. That is a great book.
For as much shit as people give the Battlefront games, which the actual story in Battlefront 2 was actually pretty good. It was a pretty good story. I liked playing it. It was quick, and I loved the free for all melee stuff going through there. But I'm just saying, for all the people crap they gave with that Battlefront 2 actually had a pretty decent story. Could have used more fleshing out. Yeah, maybe they did it in that book, but I didn't think it was half bad. I thought it was a pretty good story.
I did not read Twilight Company. I read the Inferno Squad, but yeah, I never played the game either, so I don't know.
No, wait, what? I was kidding.
I'm terrible with video games. Okay,
tell me again. Is it January the High Republic comes out? Is the first one in it? Light of the Jedi? Is it January?
Yep.
Okay,
that is the adult book and the middle grade book are both coming out.
The adult book. What they didn't tell you is it's going to be XXX.
The Jedi have sex.
Yeah.
No, so I'm thoroughly excited for it. Man, I wish I got one of those arcs. But who am I kidding? I'd probably spill secrets. So
Right.
probably best that I didn't get it. So I'm just kidding, Tom. Please don't listen to that. I do want an arc at some point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's all we have news-wise. There were a couple TV spots released for a certain show, but we are about to talk about that. So we'll take one more ad break and
Take one last ad break and we'll jump into it.
Yep.
I'm going to use this time to fill my coffee behind the scenes.
Podcast magic.
You want some more milk?
I'll be right back.
Go eat that pizza right now. Hey, you better eat that pizza after we have it away. You hear me? You better eat that pizza.
So Nathan, I wanted to show you some of my most loved books.
Okay. And we're back. Oh.
Yes, we are back. So this is Rogue Squadron. This is one of the
Okay.
X-Wing books. It is well loved.
Well loved. I've heard some good things about it.
This is Rogue Planet. It's got Obi-Wan and Anakin in it. When he was master. Obi-Wan's the master, and Anakin's the apprentice. But this has the planet from the Yuzon Vong that moves through hyperspace. It's called Zanama Sakat.
Nice. I would love to see a planet move through hyperspace.
It was really cool. And then this is not one that you'd expect to see, but this was kind of the last book that they published for Legends. They had a couple plans for where this was going to go. It's called Crucible, but it's got Luke and the Solos getting back together to fight the good fight and join together as a team. With Lando Calrissian involved.
Yes.
And I believe there's some, I haven't read it in a while, but there's some spots from Ben Skywalker as well as Jaina Solo in this one too. So Jaina Solo was supposed to have her own trilogy, and I'm really upset about it because I really wanted the trilogy. But you see, they could have grown old together. So that's what I did while you were gone filling your coffee.
So JJ's biggest blunder is not putting the big three back together for one frame.
I know.
Making Han a deadbeat dad. You know, dick.
Hey,
All right.
he got to that point in Expanded Universe, but he
I
came
get
back,
it.
So
I get it. So to the main event then?
Mandalorian, here we come.
Mando.
So, first of all, this show is amazing, and I'm so glad that it was kind of the first thing Disney Plus put out. Like, it was released when Disney Plus did, because that was a great decision. My nose is turning red, but I need to stop scratching it, but it's itchy. Somebody's talking about me. Stop laughing at me. Jeez.
I totally agree with you. Mandalorian, excellent. What a great show, and like what a great way to do it. And like they literally, all right. And I know we've been singing the praises about him, but if we're gonna talk about the Mandalorian, let's sing the praises of everybody. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. What an absolutely outstanding duo. You know what I mean? And then and Favreau not only has such confidence in what Filoni and him are talking about and doing, he has so much confidence in him. He lets him direct the pilot, which sets the tone for the series. Like, I think people undersell like how important a pilot is. Like, yeah, things usually change and shift from that, but you get picked up, or that sets your tone or whatever based on the pilot. And Filoni Favreau backed Filoni and let him do his thing with it. And Dave did exactly what George. We drop in right on the action. There's no setup. There's no nothing. We literally come off the race. Like it opens up and we're on the ice planet. Boom, Mando's walking into this bar. And you're immediately engrossed and entrenched because you see this ice world. And he's just kind of slagging along in his bum armor and stuff and goes right in there. And man, within the first 3 minutes, you got a fight scene. He's cutting somebody in half through a door. He's beating the shit out of all these guys around there and picks his bounty up. And immediately you're, yep, I'm in. Let's go. But like, I need to know more about this guy. You don't know his name. You don't know anything. You just know there's a dude in a mask and he's kicking ass, taking bounties. All right, let's go. You know what I mean?
Dude in a mask and he's kicking ass.
Yeah. I love.
Oh my gosh! Please don't puke on that couch.
I did not like the blue alien guy at first because he just seemed a little too real world for me.
Yeah.
He I can't remember his name. It's like the comedian, whatever. I just thought he was a little too real world. But now after multiple rewatches, he fits right in. I get it. Within the first like 10 minutes, you find out Mando hates droids because that one droid comes in with a nice speeder bike, and he's like, nope, no droids. And then whistly flute nose guy blows it around, and then you got the other comedian that comes in his banged up speeder, and you're just like, man. And then you see the Razor Crest, like you're in it.
Yeah.
Opens it up, boom. It goes to take off the ice crocodile whale thing, jumps up and bites it, like, and eats that one guy. Like, man, you're just immediately in there. You jump in, like he gets him in there, he jumps into hyperspace. He's got a carbon freezing chamber on board. It freezes him. Like, man, this show is you just go in right with a bang. And then you go in, and I'm not going to take play by play through everything. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like that first episode, I just think it's worth noting of like how his trajectory goes and how we as the audience were immediately captivated. And by the way, you only get like 28 minutes or 34 or whatever this episode is, and it's you're in there, and it's excellent.
Travis Hines, for shame, he says he hasn't watched the last 3 Mando episodes yet. Where the fuck have you been, man? It's been out for a year.
57. What are we going to do with you? How are you going to be prepared for season 2? How are you going to be prepared for season 2 if you don't see? And by the way, why would you stop there? Those last 3 episodes, like bang, zoom to the out, you're like, whoa, those are the good ones. I mean, okay, the whole series is great, but it's really good. They're really good.
Yeah. Like, and how about that line that kind of catches your attention up front? I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
And that's so Star Wars, because like they don't get too big, like dead. Like, yeah, there's been killing and like stuff, but he could have said dead or alive. You're coming with me, been like RoboCop or whatever. But like, like that was like you said, that's the perfect Star Wars way to be, warm or cold. Yes, please bring him in either way because I'm there for it. Let's go.
Yep. So, and then obviously we see the introduction, kind of skipping to the end of this episode, but we see the introduction of the child, the baby Yoda.
First of all, yes. Well, first of all, like IG-11 and Grief Karga, great characters. Like you meet them, and then like you said, we skip the ending of this thing. Like I said, that battle to go in to find out what the bounty is. Oh, and then you get the other Imperial guy. Like there's just a whole bunch of shit to go on with it, and like you said, you get there and they just clean this town out, and you open up the egg and everybody's mind's blown. What a Yoda species, and everybody was immediate, and then the internet exploded, baby. People, they saw him for 3.4 seconds and immediately declared they would die for Baby Yoda. Like there was, I'll die for this child if he doesn't survive. Like, you know what I mean? Like what a huge gamble and what a huge risk that they went, okay, guys, we've only seen 2 of these. Yaddle was absolutely a background character. You know what I mean? But Yoda, everybody's so beloved, but like what a gamble to go, okay, we're going to have a baby. Like he's going to be a baby, but it's also going to be the Yoda species. And they threw those dice, and man, did it come up big for them because you're just immediately, like, what is happening? You already know that from that first episode, this show is on another level, but it still feels Star Wars. You know what I mean?
It definitely feels Star Wars. And like, I'm curious to see how the identification between Baby Yoda's species and Yoda himself, like, especially with Yoda being involved in the High Republic. Like, and I get Yoda being involved, especially after the timeline was revealed, but I'm curious to see if they'll try to go into Yoda's background some in that comic. I know it's not about Yoda, but how does this play out with Din Djarin trying to find Yoda's the Yoda species?
I had heard a rumor, and now this is just a rumor. Who knows if it's just conjecture or whatever, because obviously Lucasfilm and they have proven they'll do what they want. But I had heard, like, it was never in the contract, but it was an understood thing that Yoda and that was George's baby. Like, you don't touch that. You know what I mean? Like, it was understood. Even like Kathleen and them guys, like, guys, we're not gonna do that. You know, we might not use a sequel trilogy plan, whatever, but it was basically understood you don't do that. But whenever this was all coming about and stuff, supposedly the rumor is that Filoni talked to George about it, and George basically gifted Filoni, like, you do it. I trust you. Tell their story. Tell their background. Because, you know, Filoni and George, they still call each other. And, like, he gives tips. When George visited the set, immediately went right back to their Clone Wars relationship, and he was giving Filoni tips on, hey, why is this shot like this? You know, pull it back this much, or, you know, that should be, you know what I mean? Like, those two are still friends. Like, that is truly master and apprentice right there. And he knows that Filoni has graduated to his own master and is teaching Favreau. As much as Favreau is teaching Filoni real filmmaking, like live action, Filoni is giving, like, Favreau's, he knows a lot about Star Wars, but Filoni is the encyclopedia. So, like, the way he's training, but basically the rumor was, like, George was like, you know, I trust you. Like, you do it. Here, this is the, you know, like, the Yoda species. Is the, like, what that was the rumor. And like I said, that could just be a fairy tale that somebody made up because it sounds so nice and poetic. But I would like to believe that really did happen, because he has such trust and faith in him. And like I said, what a just huge gamble that paid off so good. And there's even that one picture from the behind the scenes where George picks up the baby Yoda puppet, and, like, he's holding it like this, almost like a grandchild. Like, oh, talk about, like, you know what I mean? It's just so cool. So I choose to believe that did happen. All right, and you're not changing my mind, dicks.
I mean, whatever works. So we could see the actual Yoda species in Mandalorian season 3, and that's where we're gonna get the background for everything. I don't think there's no way you see actual Yoda in the Mandalorian, but I think the species will work out. So,
wait, stop. There is a way they could do it. We know Ahsoka's coming up. Ahsoka may not be a Jedi, but she is highly skilled in the Force. I would absolutely 100 believe that the Force ghost of Yoda could reach out to Ahsoka. We could see that if the rumors are to be true, that the Mando seeks out, you know, like, they run into Ahsoka thinking maybe you're one of the wizards, as he called them. Maybe Yoda would. I mean, even if she doesn't take him to go train him to be, like, on her thing, but there's no reason that to say a Yoda Force she couldn't meditate in the Force and talk to Master Yoda, and, you know, him be like, curious it is, you know, child. You know what I mean? Like, it could happen. So I wouldn't rule it out. I'm not expecting it, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Yeah, I would not put money on it. So
no.
But I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But going back to actual Mandalorian season 1, the second episode is kind of intriguing because that's kind of Din's first introduction to the Force and how it works. But then also the crazy Jawas.
How about, you probably don't remember, but how about the homage to, like, Batman 66 and that old time films? He's literally shooting when he's going up the crawler and he's walking up the wall. That's what Batman and Robin used to do in Batman 66, and going up like that.
Really?
And just the way it went about. And I do believe, wasn't it Rick Famuyiwa that directed episode 2? I want to say it was. I want to say it was that he wrote and directed it. And I want to say, like, and I know he did episode 6, the prison ship, you know, the Republic prison ship. What I gotta say is, and he's getting credited for writing an episode on season 2 and directing again. So this man obviously knows what's going on. Like, I would love to see either a movie or a series helmed by him, because this series, like, the 2 episodes he did are so vastly different in episode 2 and episode, you know, the prison breakout. And, like, just look at his range. Like, this one had, like, laughs where, like, the Jawas were throwing stuff down on him as he's trying to climb up. The eggs falling in, you know, there's still great action as he's literally vaporizing Jawas. You know what I mean? He's literally vaporizing. Yeah, and then he gets the mud horn and goes. And then like as we'll get there, like that other episode where it's like the prison ship, he's like coming in like Batman. Like FAMU obviously loves Batman because the 66 reference, and then as he's going through that hallway, just beating the shit out of droids in that in later episode. What I'm getting at is I think this man, he gets it. Deborah Chow got it, which we'll get to her episode. Totally agree. She's ready for the job.
He did direct this one.
Yeah, but FAMU, I'd like, let's get this man because he's a good writer. He's a good director. Like, let's get him in there with one of these projects if he has time for it and wants to do it, whether it be a movie or a series. Totally down with it because he knows what's up.
I kind of want to see, and I know Favreau had kind of written a lot of, I believe he wrote all of season 1. I got it pulled up. Yeah. Oh no, Filoni wrote.
There was collabs.
Filoni wrote episode 5. Yostin Famu. Oh God, you said it, and I can't.
Rick Famuyiwa?
Yeah. Christopher Yost and Rick Famuyiwa wrote chapter 6, and Favreau wrote the rest.
Well, they're bringing they're bringing Famuyiwa back to write an episode because Favreau wrote 6 episodes in season 2. Filoni wrote 1, and Famuyiwa wrote 1 again. So, like I said, even Favreau knows that Famuyiwa, he gets it. He's a good storyteller. Like I said, I would love to see him do something because I do love this one. And like you said, when the Force comes in at the end, like there's your mind blowing thing number 2. Like and episode 1, the Yoda baby Yoda, mind blown. End of episode 2, puts that little baby hand up and stops it, and he goes, "What?" Like, oh man, there's mind blow. 2 episodes, 2 mind blows.
Yep. And Quill, the Ugnaught, we talked about him earlier, kind of. It'll be interesting to see if the story group chooses to tie him back in the earlier books.
Right, like we discussed.
Yeah. So he's an interesting character, to say the least.
I have spoken.
So yes, I have spoken.
I have spoken. That is one of the best memes and gifts ever because you just say what you got to say. You put that GIF in there. I have spoken. And he just turns around and walks away. Like I don't know. It's great. Like I said, I love the Jawas go one of the egg only just to eat it and be all creepy with it. And we got to see the steering wheel of the sand crawler and stuff. Like what a great just a great little combined little contained episode. But it was just great. And
while it's contained in a sense, it also furthers the story.
It builds. Yeah.
So you get to see Quill and Quill comes back later. So and you build the character of Baby Yoda, which at this point, I get that he can't communicate, but this was kind of Favreau and Disney's first mistake. At this point, he'd already been named Baby Yoda, and honestly, in earlier showings, that should have been predicted. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they wanted to roll with it, but Favreau, when talking about how the Baby Yoda presence had rolled across the world, I don't think he was expecting it. So
he thought people were gonna go, the child. What? Stop it. Nobody's calling that thing the child.
And the second episode, in his defense, is called The Child.
I get it. Well,
did you not put this series in front of some teenagers or some women initially to kind of see that reaction? That's my ask. Would you agree?
Yes. Well, and with the names of it, moving along, episode 3 is called The Sin, and here's where we get Deborah Chow, and like, woo, how did we really start seeing some shit here? Because he's fulfilling his bounty, and he takes him back to God, what's his name? The Imperial there, Grievous.
Oh gosh, hang on.
Come on, what's his name? Werner Warsog's character. Can't remember his name, but like going in there when he drops that baby, Yoda off to him.
Werner Herzog, the client.
Yes, Werner. Okay, the client, Werner Herzog. Yeah, he drops him off, and like when he sees the pod in the garbage and realizes it, and he goes back in there with this whistling bird. Like, man, what a great scene! And him just ass kicking. I mean, taking out these old stormtroopers. Like I said, the whistling birds in that one scene. She's coming in one arm, taking Baby Yoda out of there, taking no prisoners. Like, man, what an excellent scene. And then we get to he gets out to the town, and man, all the bounties go back off. And man, you think he's screwed. Like, he's so screwed out there. And I know we're jumping around, but we're not going to do a play-by-play of every episode. We're just kind of hitting the beats. But, like, he goes out there and you think he's, like, screwed. And he's laying down there and he's pinned down. And, boy, out of nowhere, the Mandos, like, you just see jetpacks coming down. You just see laser bolts, just raining down on them. And,
and this is your first kind of introduction to, like, the Night of 1,000 Tears, because you see him get his new armor built, because obviously his chest plate was destroyed in the second episode. So
by the Mudhorn.
You see his new armor get built and everything, and you've got a group of Mandalorians there, and they're like, "This is from an Imperial forge." Like,
well, I like when they do get the Beskar or whatever to even Grief Karga gets some, and I like that little scene where he's talking to him, and he goes, "Even I made some." Pulls out 2 bars, slides it right back in his pocket. And boy, howdy, when this showdown
comes back,
Mando takes no prisoners. Mando shoots for the heart, if you notice. But Karga's got those Beskar there, box it off there, which is, I mean, that's pretty cold. Like, he was taking Karga out, like, you were done. But, like, I love that, like, even the Mando that he fought with, the the other Vizsla, the descendant, like, they're going and he's like, "What are you doing this for?" "This is the way." And he's just flying with this fucking heavy duty machine gun, just clear the way. Yes. I love it. Like I said, Deborah Chow, like, after seeing her 2 episodes, and especially this one of, like, the action and the way it's portrayed and how she kind of keeps it suspenseful, Obi-Wan is in good hands, very good hands, because she knows what she's doing behind the camera, and I got told, like, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier, but Ewan McGregor did say that they were planning to start filming Obi-Wan Kenobi in March.
Yeah.
So, but as with the Flash movie, I believe it when I see it. So, that's all I got to say there.
I get it.
Going with the next episode, you've got Bryce Dallas Howard directing this one.
Her directorial debut.
And honestly, I think she would have come back had Jurassic Park 3 not been scheduled to shoot during the same time period. And obviously, as we know,
she didn't get an episode in season 2. I thought she directed an episode in season 2.
I don't think so.
Maybe I'm wrong. I swear she got an episode. Look it up for me, will you please? Because I'm man. Now you got me second guessing myself. But I swore she was coming back for an episode to direct.
Did I lie? Nope. Yep, she is coming back. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Never mind. Then just ignore what I just said.
But
I thought she did amazing, because this is a complex episode.
Well, and the character work in this, like, meeting new characters and growing attached to these villagers, like, she nailed that character work and making you immediately. And then, like, Cara Dune comes in, and you immediately, like, you're like, she's immediately a fleshed out character, and, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think, like I said, I think the character work she does in this is second to none, because she gets it. She makes those interactions, and, like, you feel the mom and her child scared when that ATST's coming, and, like, they're hiding under the water and those people are raiding. Like, I don't know, like I said, it's excellent character work, and even making the ATST scary. You know what I mean? Like because, like, if we saw teddy bears take this thing down with vines in, Return of the Jedi, but, like, to make these things, like, scary, and, like, the people going, and, like I said, Cara Dune, like, just this, she just comes in feeling it, and, Baby Yoda just, how about, you know what I mean? Yeah, just, I don't know, like, it's just so good. And, like, Baby Yoda just sipping his little bowl of, that was the new Kermit doing the tea things and just sipping his bowl. And we forgot to mention the pressing the buttons. Well, pressing the buttons in the last episode, and then they doing those memes where it was like he was changing the radio station shit. Hilarious. Those are still hilarious. Yeah. But all right, but back to this episode. Like I said, I'm drinking that stuff. I really did like. Now this episode has been done even in Star Wars, because in Clone Wars season 2, there's an episode where Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, and R2 help a group of bounty hunters defend a village because the bounty hunters are paying against Hondo and his bandits. So, like, literally, even Filoni has done this himself, but it was still good, and it's a trope that's been done in a lot of things. Let's not act like it hasn't. But I just thought it was curious that Star Wars itself retreaded itself, and especially Dave Filoni. I don't know. It was still good. I liked it.
But
it's very good.
It's what, 32 years later, so
right. No, absolutely. No, I get it. That's what I said. I don't mind it.
And this
What
episode was
about
written by Favreau.
yes? And I know the next episode, episode 5. Like, what did you think? Because I know you are an OT fan just like me. There's a lot of people that shit on this episode. There's a lot of people that consider this it's the week. Shut up! I'm a fan and I like to be serviced. Okay, because seeing Tatooine again and going to Mos Eisley Canyon, like what a fucking treat. Okay, and like literally seeing the booths again, seeing the bar, like coming in and landing in the docking bay. Whatever, assholes. You didn't like seeing that? They literally put the same scape in it as when you're coming into Tatooine. Like you didn't fucking get a little tingle of joy out of that, you joyless prick. Get out of here. Shut up. Yes, we did, and it was glorious. Okay, I loved it. Now, was it the strongest episode? I'll be the first to admit maybe it wasn't the strongest because I didn't really like I liked Fennec Shand. What's her name from Agents of Shield? God, what's her name?
Milan.
Forgive me. No, yes, I can't remember her actual. God damn it, I'm sorry, but I can't remember her actual name right now. But she was great, but the slimy guy that like the Mando's helping, like I could have done without him. Either way, I still dug this episode because yes, I'm a fan and I like to be serviced. I'll say it again. So give me now. We don't have to go retread all of them, but how can you not love going back to seeing Tatooine? Get out of here, you joyless pricks.
And actually,
May win. May win.
I'm still looking.
Ming
Na Wen.
Ming Na Wen. Damn it, that's it. Yes, I'm sorry. Forgive me about it because I always guess her name. But yes, like her, she was great. And I've loved her since Agents of Shield. Like so, like she's just a great actress. So like more of her, and like I said, the guy, which I know he was supposed to be the scuzzy sleazeball guy, whatever. But this episode also connecting to season 2, this episode is going to have a lot more reverence and a lot more going in because if the rumors are to be true, that
we return to Tatooine.
And the steps, the steps there, the people are saying that's Boba Fett. So we could end up seeing in season 2 these ships go head to head, the Razor Crest and the Slave One, because there's huge, heavily implied rumors Boba Fett is straight up coming in season 2, and you know. If they bring in Boba Fett and we don't have a dogfight between Slave One and the Raven, and the Razor Crest, you're messing up. If we don't have those two facing each other, you're messing up in life. So let's get our stuff together, guys, and let's go. Like I said, I didn't mind. I thought this episode was really good, and it just brought me back all the right tingles and stuff.
Well, so you've got Mark Hamill actually makes a voice cameo in this as the bartender droid. And I didn't realize this, but the Vizsla Mandalorian you were talking about, that's actually voiced by Jon Favreau.
Yeah, and he voiced Pre-Vizsla in the. It was Paz Vizsla with the Mando, and Pre-Vizsla was in the Death Watch in Clone Wars. Yeah,
is that so? He went and voiced. Oh, okay.
He's had a relationship with Filoni since season 2 of Clone Wars when they brought in Death Watch.
Yeah, not it.
Which is why he knows about the Darksaber so well, because Pre-Vizsla had the Darksaber. Favreau voiced him. It's like, you know what I mean? He had knowledge of a lot of the stuff that they're bringing in.
Yep. And so then
episode
to me,
6.
I didn't mind.
Oh, wait, sorry. Go ahead.
To me, I didn't mind the Tatooine setting of this because for me,
because you're a fan like me.
Well, it also makes sense because Tatooine was a spot for gangs, obviously in the original trilogy with Jabba the Hutt. So it makes sense kind of when Jabba dies, Tatooine's going to get overrun and be a great source of bounties. So
well, I do love the contrast too. In A New Hope, we see hey, get out of here. We don't allow your kind of here talking to the droids. And now fast forward how many years later, there's a droid bartender. So I just thought that was a nice little contrast. You know what I mean? So it's just showing that time has gone by.
Yep.
That was cool.
So it makes sense. But Dave Filoni is also supposed to direct episode 5 of the season 2. So we, for a lot of people, that's where Ahsoka's going to come back in to play.
That's Filoni's baby. He's very protective of her.
Yep. That's Dave Filoni's baby. It makes complete sense. And Wikipedia does not have the episode titles listed, but they are out there if you want to look for them. But because there hasn't been an official press release, I
We're gonna
think
leave
I've
it alone.
mentioned them previously, but I'm not gonna go look for them now because I'm lazy.
Right.
So, Chapter 6, The Prisoner, directed by Rick
Yes.
Famuyiwa
Mm-hmm.
and Christopher Yost, and Rick wrote this one.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I just keep jacking up the last name, Rick. I'm sorry. I thought this one, while it is filler, I thought this episode was a ginormous blast.
Yeah, fucking awesome episode. First of all, you come off the Razor Crest, and there's Bobby Ellis from Sons of Anarchy standing there. You're like, sweet, what's this guy do? I forget his real name, but he's standing there, and you're like, yes. And then like Bill Burr, what a treat Bill Burr turned out to be in the role of like the leader of these guys. Like, who would have thought? And then you got Berg in there, which I can't remember his name. He's done voices. He was the voice of Savage Opress. He's done a voice in Rebels. He was one of the leaders in Rebels. Oh God, I can't remember. He's Lex Luthor's voice. Whatever. Either way, people know what I'm talking about. But him playing Berg, like, what great character. Loved that. The girl from Game of Thrones playing a Twi'lek that's like an assassin and stuff. Yes. Zero the droid. All right. And like you said, what a just blast. And then this is our first little look into the seeds of the New Republic. Like when we started Force Awakens, like Hosni and Prime and the New Republic get wiped out. They're done. You know what I mean? Like, this is like our first thing. We see New Republic droids. We see a New Republic prison ship. At the end of it, we see New Republic X-Wings. You know what I mean? Like, this is our first little glance into really what's happened after, with the overall galaxy after Return of the Jedi and the fall of the Emperor.
Yep.
And then, like I said, man, this thing gets good.
And you've
you've
got Anakin Skywalker cameo in this.
Yes, we did. Because the voice of Anakin was in it, which was all Matt Lanter.
Yep.
Awesome. Like I said, I love like the way, like when they first meet those droids and Bill Burr like holds his characters, but holds the other guys back while Mando's taking those droids and he takes them on by himself, and they're all just kind of sizing him up and watching them. They get the brother out of there, and like I love when it turns into like Mando's like, all right, now I'm hunting these guys. You know what I mean? Like, it goes in and like he smashes Berg with the blast door. He takes out the Twi'lek, and then you get to like Bill Burr and like he's going, and man, what a great, just like I said, Famuyiwa has got to be a huge Batman fan, because like those lights are flickering and like he's there, and then Bill Burr's like, no, done. You know what I mean? And then he takes out Zero, because Zero, like Baby Yoda and Zero playing like basically hide and seek on the ship was hilarious. And I love how the Zero's gonna like take him out, and Baby Yoda holds his hand up, and he looks at his hand. You know what I mean? Like, I got it. That one was hysterical. I actually really like the Twilight. I can't think of her name right now, but she's Tonks in Harry Potter. Yes, and
love her to death. She's an incredible actress.
Yeah, Tonks in Harry Potter, and she's also in Game of Thrones as Asha.
Yep. So she's incredible, and I hope she comes back in some sort of different capacity. Obviously, it doesn't have to be a Twi'lek, but I think she's great and deserves more.
I would love to see her character again from this, because we know at the end of this they're all
alive
in a
still.
prison cell. Yes, all of them are alive besides Zero, the droid.
And Travis, if you're watching now, we're about to dive into spoilers. Or, I mean, technically you haven't seen episode 6, but at this point, so episode 7 and 8, kind of tackled together because really everything comes to a head at this point. And they really all just needed to be one giant episode. Because I had stress after watching episode 7 and then having to wait a week.
Yeah. Well, Mando rallying the troops because he realizes like there's no safe, like he's got to. There's just there's going to be no safe place while this bounty's still out, and Werner Herzog, the client's out there. Like, so he thinks, all right, I'm going to round up my troops. He even gets Grief Karga to like kind of switch sides and kind of go with him. Yeah. And he's got his small supporter group of, Queel and Cardoon and Grief Karga, and then eventually even IG-11, who, lo and behold, is back and like kind of like reprogrammed as a nanny droid.
Well, and you missed an important portion. The force heal from Baby Yoda that turns Grief Karga.
Oh yeah, which is hilarious. You know what I mean? Where he actually heals him, which
Well, and it's
Still,
interesting. It's interesting to see because Pablo Hidalgo's story that comes out tomorrow, I believe, states that the force heal can only be done by dyads because they're trying to clean up
thank you.
a lot of the plot holes in
Mhm.
Rise of Skywalker. So they're trying to clean that up, but then
Mm.
you create a plot hole here
Mm-hmm.
in The Mandalorian because
Mm-hmm.
Baby Yoda does the force heal.
I've got a quick solve for that, by the way. Which okay, but first of all, I'm gonna call a little bit of bullshit because they released this episode the week Rise of Skywalker came out.
Mm-hmm.
They knew that Rise of Skywalker was having force healing, and
They
I
moved
bet it
this
was not.
episode to
They did,
Wednesday. They all release on
and
Friday, so they moved it
mm,
specifically.
well, I'm betting it wasn't a coincidence that this was written into this series because I they knew people weren't going to like it, like forcing. Because, like I said, what the fuck was Anakin doing? If he could have just learned to force heal, Padme doesn't die, Vader doesn't come about, Palpatine goes down. Like, story keeps going, hunky dory. Separatist war over, bliss and going through. Because seriously, like he couldn't save his mother, couldn't save Padme. Like, come on, like if it's just so
But
you
that's
can be
why
so powerful, he's the goddamn chosen one. No, I know that's what I'm saying. I'm
that's
gonna
the
get that.
dyad thing.
Right,
Plot hole.
which is like I said, which is why I like the dyad, meaning that because these two, like it hadn't happened in a millennia, and that because these two were positioned, they made each other more strong and more powerful. I like that it was okay that you could do that there. Now here's my fix. Here's my fix for why Baby Yoda can do it.
Okay.
Let's make now because I don't want it to be a thing where everybody can just start force healing. Like I said, Anakin the Chosen One, like his whole thing was just shit. But what if we know the wills of the force are like the most powerful thing, you know what I mean? Like they're very force powerful. The three Yoda species that we have seen, we know are all powerful. Yaddle on the Jedi Council. Master Yoda, the most powerful on the Jedi Council. Baby Yoda as an infant, powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Make the Yoda species and the wills one and the same, which is why they're so sparse. You don't see a lot of them in the galaxy. Nobody knows where their planet is really. Make them one and the same because that gives you reference to go, this is why they're so powerful. So yes, eventually they could learn to force heal. And the only reason why the Jedi could do it, like Rey and Kylo, is because they were a dyad. And that's what made that work. So to me, that wraps up all your goddamn plot holes. Then it doesn't make Anakin not being able to save his mother or Padme null and void because, like I said, just a couple of years later, they're gonna go, oh, look, we can do it now. Like, you know what I mean? To me, that's how you wrap all that up.
Well, to me, that could make sense. You could see the Wills as kind of the ancestors of the Baby Yoda species. That's where they go in a higher plane
Okay.
existence.
Okay.
That could be possible. For me, Disney and Star Wars has been doing a lot of publicizing of pairs recently. They did one on Anakin and Padme. They did one on I believe it was Han and Chewie, and then they did a couple others, but it was like 6 or 7 tweets from all different accounts, where it was like, there's nothing like being the chosen one and his queen and stuff. And I'm like, they were doing a lot of highlighting of dyads, pairs. So what if they're saying the dyad is now a relationship standard and Din and Baby Yoda are a dyad?
Don't like it.
I don't know.
I
That was like
don't like
a ginormous reach.
Unless Din is force sensitive, I don't like it because it doesn't mean, like, to use a Harry Potter term, just a muggle and then a force sensitive person, all of a sudden they could be a dyad. Well, where's the hell's the force on the other side of the person that doesn't use it? Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. I'm not trying to undersell your theory. You know, like you said, we're just spitballing here. But I'm just saying, to me, that it could work, they could do it, but I wouldn't like it because I would think, like I said, with Ben Solo and Rey, they were both so powerful. When their force powers came together, boom, they were like, mega super force power. You know what I mean? And that's why they were so bad. And like, no, it would be hard to work in, but like, let's just say, for instance, Ahsoka and Baby Yoda make a force dyad to where she didn't even know it until they got into close proximity because now she's grown. She's grown in her power. Like she's even older than the last time we saw her. So what if it's like just because they're around? Because like I said, Rey had no power, no one, whatever. The Force awakened in her, and then when her and Kylo got together, boom, like she became mega power. She was literally fighting with him because she picked the skills up. You know what I mean? So if they were just in proximity, kind of the same thing could happen. If they were going to do pairs like that, I would like it better if it was her. Or there's also been rumors that Moff Gideon, like we know he's using the dark saber. What if he's a little bit force sensitive? What if Moff Gideon and Baby Yoda are the? But I guess that doesn't. I don't like that either.
And that doesn't make
the
sense
Emperor
with
would not.
Palpatine.
The Emperor would not let that happen. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Scratch that idea. It's out of there.
No, so what I'm saying with like kind of the pairs being a sense, what if, because I don't believe they specified that force dyads could only do healing. So what if the force dyad still remains rare and the dyad itself isn't as rare but can still have that power, which would be why you would include Anakin and Padme in it. But then your theory of, okay, why doesn't Anakin heal? But then you also have in the Rise of Skywalker novelization, Rey learns healing from the ancient Jedi text that Luke had.
Ray also gave a goddamn kiss of gratitude. So I mean, I'm sorry, Ray Carson. I know you're working with what you got, but come on, stop it. I'm a fan. You know me of the novelizations, but they just worked in some stuff to go, oh, whatever. That's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to bag on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories. Oh, gotta go be a dad. We have gone longer than we typically do, so. It's just how I think it works. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, you could give more explanation on force dyads here in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Look at this beautiful timeline. So much love. And the dang dramatist personae. You can't read any of this because it's all backwards, but I loved this. This is amazing. But hey, it came back in Chaos Rising. That cover, or that's not cover. What am I talking about? That artwork though. Aww. Timothy Zahn's acknowledgement. I didn't even read this. For Thrawn Ascendancy 1, for all those who stand on the edge of chaos. Then you do have a pretty timeline come back in. But what sucks is that this is only Del Rey books. I want Ahsoka in here. I need the Disney books in this timeline, please. Please, someone. Star Wars, help me. Help me understand why it's not in here. And then here, you got the dramatist personae.
Sorry.
No, I was showing everyone the books. I was like showing them. I didn't realize that Zahn dedicated Chaos Rising for all those who stand on the edge of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that.
Okay, so where were we? I'm sorry. I know we were about to wrap up, but where were we?
Episode 7.
Yeah. Rallying the troops before healing. Yeah, we got on a dyad tangent and all that. Yeah.
Yep. So this one was directed by Deborah Chow, and then chapter 8 was directed by Taika Waititi. So, and I know you weren't a huge fan of the opening of chapter 8.
No.
With the stormtroopers, but I thought
I was until it went on too long, which is Taika's signature is he gets something funny, but then he exaggerates it out and pushes it on too long until it gets a bit awkward or kind of, but that's his kind of humor. To him, that's hilarious when it's long, drawn out, awkward situations and stuff. Fine, whatever. That's his thing. It's not mine. Other than that, though, I'm not going to condemn the episode because it was great.
And you got everyone riled up because the stormtrooper kicked the baby. So.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, both of these episodes are absolutely fantastic.
Well, How about episode 7? Like, we think it's just Werner Herzog's character. No, they mow them down, and then the shiny stormtroopers come in, and death troopers, and a damn TIE fighter lands with folded wings right down. You go, holy shit, what is happening? Episode 7, like, they're pinned down in this bar, and then Moff Gideon comes walking out and just commanding the room, and like, yeah, they might be locked in, but he's going to get like the big hammer gun, like he's taking you out. You know what I mean? They're just trapped, and you go, what is going to happen? And like you said, they end you on that cliffhanger. Boom. We get into episode 2, or the final episode, and man, like, you find out, like, in episode 7, Queel's running. Episode 8, it's like you find out Queel's dead. Like, he gets killed. The stormtroopers have Baby Yoda. Our characters are pinned down. And then all of a sudden, what happens is IG-11's programming comes in, like his nurse droid, and he's like, he sees Queel dead, and he's on it, and he comes riding in like the goddamn cavalry with those guns. Boom, coming in, steals Baby Yoda back, straps it to him, just taking him out. Like, oh, what a badass scene.
I remember being up at, I think it was probably 5 a.m. for chapter 7. Matt and I were watching it. And I was yelling at the screen, and I was like, no, Queel, get to the ship! Get to the ship!
Yeah.
So that was disheartening. But
what a great, like, first of all, Cara Dune's gun, like, badass. I love that big chamber, just taking it out. But like, I love like the character progression. And like I said, IG-11 comes in. They pull Din in, who's been hit, like he's badly hit, pulls him in, and like they escape. He opens up the crate, and they escape through in this little lava boat. And Din's gonna like stay behind him, but he's like, I can't take my. He's like, I'm still a droid. And he takes it off for him, and just to come full circle where he trusts that droid enough and lets him patch him. And like, he gets him to the lava boat, which cool as hell, by the way. And like, they're coming out, and like the whole thing in episode 1 is like, cannot be called self-destruct. There's a funny beat, and then like in this one, he's like, I know my programming, and like goes into self-destruct, and by the end you're like, no, because you're like, you did way to go, and like they're all sad and stuff, and just boom, gets him out of there. And man, Mando takes the jetpack for the first time and flies, because he had gotten that from the old armor, and like he flies and takes the TIE fighter out and shit. Like, so cool to take it out, and you think, oh, everything's all good, and they're all leaving, and that's how it's going to end. And we flash over to the TIE fighter, who's smoking in the ground, and all of a sudden, like, it just heats up, and all of a sudden you see a black blade come through. Boom, Moff Gideon comes out with the dark saber and stands there in that silhouette with like his cape billowing and the dark saber lit with the sun behind it. Boom, and you go, what? Like, oh my god.
Yep. Man. Exactly.
So good.
No.
So
a lot
good.
Of
I can't wait for more.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mind-blowing stuff in this series.
Yeah, and I honestly can't wait for more. And it, like, one thing that I talked about when Disney bought Star Wars was kind of a plan for Disney TV or Star Wars TV, because first of all, like, everyone had kind of wanted live action Star Wars television to happen, but it never had.
Including Lucas himself.
Yeah.
1313 on the shelf.
Mm-hmm. So you get to a point where, okay, how do you go about it? And in the Legends series, Legends was, I would think, best known for its Tales of X. It had like stuff like Tales of the New Republic, Tales of the Empire, Tales of it did not have Tales of the Jedi, but it had Tales of like the Bounty Hunters. So stuff like that, where you could kind of, it's kind of like from a certain point of view, where you get snapshots of short stories from different characters, and they were anthologies. And my goal for Star Wars TV was that it always would take that approach, and it would kind of give you a one-shot glance into things, which is what I've talked about with the Cassian Andor show. Give me a Cassian Andor season, then give me an Ahsoka season, then give me another Fulcrum in it, and kind of, if something works in that season of television, break it off and make it its own thing. Like, sure. And that's kind of how they've chosen to take Mandalorian, especially if the Ahsoka series comes to light and having Ahsoka appear in multiple shows, episode 5 is going to be make or break on episode 5. If that's where Ahsoka comes in, is going to be make or break on kind of where she comes in future series. So I don't know. I think they've done a great job with The Mandalorian. I can't wait to see where it goes. So yeah.
Me too. Can't wait for more.
Yep. That's all I have.
That's all I have as well.
Well, we'll close it out then. The next episode of Star Wars Alliance will be Chapter 11. This is Chapter 10 today. Can you believe that? Episode 10?
Cannot.
So, big milestone here. Everyone else is on episode 20, but you know.
Right.
Bi-weekly shows, the sexiest of weeklies.
The sexiest of weeklies, as we all know.
Yes. Starting November 1st, we will actually be moving the next 8 weeks to be a weekly show. We're going to be doing Sundays, Sunday mornings. We don't know what specific time yet. I'll probably play it by ear, but the goal is to kind of have a show where y'all can come on and talk about The Mandalorian. We want to get the whole network involved in it. Nathan and I will probably shoot the rest of the show on a different portion of the week, just so we can get that out. And then Sundays are dedicated to The Mandalorian.
Well, and full disclosure, if something happens on a Sunday and I cannot be there, I fully ask Katie to push on and to get one of the other co-hosts, because if for some reason it doesn't happen, it will totally be my fault as family obligations and, you know, a little young one and stuff. So it will fully be my fault, but I am planning to be there because I know I'm going to want to talk about this show immediately after seeing it. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the goal with it going kind of to its own spiel on Sundays is to just make it easier for a lot of people to join in, but also get it quick and done. 15 minutes. That's that might be all it takes sometimes. So
right, that's all I need. You know, quick and done.
So yeah, we will of course be publishing the full schedule and kind of get y'all some more information that will go on the Star Wars Alliance Twitter, which is at Star Wars Alliance without the A in the wars, and then also the Geek Ultimate Alliance Twitter. Both of those Twitters will be in the description box below. It'll also go on Facebook probably, just to kind of give you all some more information. But yeah, that is the plan.
That's
for the
all
next.
I got.
That's all I got too. So the plan for the next episode is Sunday, and depending on where the rest of the show drops, it might drop Sunday, it might drop Thursday. I don't know.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We'll work it out.
What full details will go live later.
Sure.
But Thursday will not be Katie's day anymore. So but Nathan, tell us where they can find you potentially after the new year.
Potentially after the new year, it will. I'm still Wobbly Boots 85 on Twitter and stuff. I'm just taking a leave of absence, as you will, a mental health break, as they will say. And I must say it's absolutely working, because I am just like, I'm happy. I don't have any stress. Like my head is totally in the sand and fog about most nonsense, and it's really great. So I implore you, if you're feeling just agitated and on edge all the time and just feeling like the world is on the verge of ending every 45 seconds because you look at Twitter and Facebook and whatever, I highly encourage disconnect, walk away, and actually breathe some fresh air and look around and go, hey, you know what? The world's actually not falling apart. The sky's actually not falling, and just unplug. But that's my little soapbox, and I'll jump off of it now. But eventually I will be back at Wobbly Boots 85. But for right now, I'm unplugging and taking mental health. But Katie, what about you? So you can find me at KGillstrap13 on Twitter. I've already given you this show's one. It's Star Wars Alliance without the A in the worst. You can find my other shows at Slice of Film 1. Nathan and I just did a fantastic episode on Batman and Robin, where I drop all of the hot takes. Right. Katie's very, very high during this recording. I mean, if you don't believe me, just listen. Just listen to how high she is, because there are some hot takes. There were no alcohol or drugs involved in shooting a slice of film a slice of Batman and Robin. So that's my disclaimer.
right there. Everything was factual. But that's all we have for you guys.
That's it.
If you're still here, we greatly appreciate you, and thanks for watching.
If you
or
find
listening.
us later, thank you. Yeah.
Wherever you're at, whatever time of day you're listening, we really appreciate you guys being here. Feel free to leave us a review on your favorite podcatcher. It does help put us in the feeds of other people. We are a Geek Ultimate Alliance podcast network, so we have everything for everyone.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, share.
Yeah.
I mean, subscribe. And I'm not in the YouTube world, but I know they say that kind of fancy stuff. So apparently it works for stuff. So like and subscribe and hit the bell and all whatever that YouTube jargon is. Do all that stuff for us because it will help.
All of our shows go live. DC and Marvel go live.
I think DC will be later on this evening on this very feed.
DC Alliance will be live in precisely 1 hour. So you can find them later on tonight. You can find Marvel Alliance live tomorrow night. So yeah, drop those likes. Drop
Friday
those
night.
comments.
Right.
Super Civil Servants Friday night. Not on this YouTube. It will be on.
Search it out. You'll find it.
Yes. But yeah. That's all the spiel we have.
That's right. Yeah. We're tapping out.
We're tapping out. This is the longest episode, I think. So
right.
We're sitting at 1 hour and 58 minutes.
Alrighty.
So
I'm getting the hell out of hyperspace, guys. I'll see you next time around. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And
may the force be with you. Bye, guys.
See ya. See you later, Katie.
Bye.
Good chat.